there everyone, Luke here, and we're nearly there guys, we're nearly there. Chapter 200 is next week, so, and not only that, but it's been 4 years since the series began. And what a ride it's been, guys. I mean, I started doing this about a year ago, so during around the series was turning 3 years old. But can I honestly say it's been one of the funnest rides I've had, doing reviews for YouTube, ranging from Promised Neverland to Dr. Stone to this one, and maybe in the future 100 Girlfriends. So yeah, this year has been one of the most fun rides for Mission Yozakura family, and based on what we're getting at the end of this chapter, looks like next year is going to be even more fun. Now, I did go on Twitter to just see how many people are actually looking at the series now, and still not enough. Which, come on, guys. Anybody out there who is a fan of manga should be reading this series, and is a fan of Weekly Shonen Jump should be reading this series, and not just waiting for like, we'll see if the anime is any good, because the anime is not going to get to the best parts. That is what I'm going to say. The anime is not going to get to the best parts. Read the manga, see if it's something you'll pick up, and like I said in the Mission Yozakura discussion, wait until chapter 40, and then I'd say give it until the end of the fight with the on the train, or at least the end of the fight with at the mansion, before you actually decide if it's a series you're going to stick with or not. But anyway, that's enough talking. I've got the chapter on standby, so let's get into it. Alright, so this will be chapter 199, titled TAIYO Yozakura versus Alexandriu. So yeah, pretty standard chapter. We've got plenty of these before. So anyway, considering this is the 4-year anniversary, and therefore Mission Yozakura gets the lead color page, we and the lead for Shonen Jump this week, we actually do start with the color page, where we have Alex standing up to TAIYO and just being like, "Oh, step aside, TAIYO," as we get reiterations of what happened at the end of the last chapter, with TAIYO activating his blooming and saying like, "Hey, you're wrong, Rio. Family is family. There's no real or fake." That's the lesson I personally learned from the Yozakura family, and it's nice that we actually have a moment like this, because at the beginning of the series, TAIYO would just be like this nervous wreck and just be like, "Yeah, I'm not sure if I can stand up to someone like Rio," but the fact that he's standing here right now, confident, being like, "Okay, if this is how it's gonna go, we're gonna throw down right now, Alex." So it is nice. It's like, if you go back and compare TAIYO to the beginning of the series to where he is right now, there is certainly a definite change, and he has grown back into what we learnt about him previously, how he was very peppy, very upbeat before his tragic accident. Now he's back in full on that front, as we get the actual colour page here, which shows all the members of the Yozakura family, including Ayaka and Ai. Now, obviously, made no secret that I consider Ai part of the family, and what is being said here is that the author clearly considers Ayaka part of the family as well. So it's nice that they're actually being acknowledged as parts of the family. Now, one thing I want to see next year is, I want to see I develop more of her blooming alongside the kids, because there is something that I actually realised here. Like, for the mission to take down Acid to actually be successful, and the kids to actually be able to come through it, they have to master their bloomings, and we know I has a blooming as well. So maybe that's something that we can explore for half of next year, and the next half of next year is based on what is going to happen at the end of this chapter. Now, Aika is a different story, because I'm like thinking, like, does she have something similar to what Tampopo has when it's a artificial blooming, in the same way that Ai has? Like, does Ayaka have this artificial blooming like I has now? Some people said to me that, yeah, I don't know about that, because regular people would be able to withstand the blood, but this is Ayaka we're talking about here. She is not regular in any way. So hey, this might be a plot point that we actually do get explored next year. Fingers crossed, knock on wood and all that. But anyway, so and oh my god, the cherry blossom on one particular on the page on page 4 on the Fizz app, just absolutely stunning. So anyway, getting into the chapter properly here, we have TAIYO basically saying to Ryu, Ryu saying to TAIYO like, oh, you don't understand, as long as I'm a fake, basically reiterating what he's saying last time of like, I'm a fake, Katana doesn't deserve me. I want to ship her off to this family so that she's happy, and then I don't have to feel this guilt in any way. I cannot be her true father. And TAIYO is actually trying to get to see him sincere by basically like, look, it doesn't matter if it's real or fake. You decide what your family is, but of course, this being Alex, he's not going to listen, and he's like, this is a question of values, TAIYO. Talking is a waste of the time. If you really want to talk, speak with your fists, as we see Ryu just buff up. Like, what kind of technique is this with Ryu? Like, okay, okay, we know he's quite big and muscular, but the way he's looking at it, like, this is some beefing up on, I want to say Luffy with his gum fruit. I'm just being like, and just using the ground, just to come directly at TAIYO. But of course, TAIYO being TAIYO activates his hardening to block Ryu's attack, as Ryu continues to say, I'm an editor of master manipulating words. I know they're powerful, well, and how empty they are. If you want to convince me, then you'll have to speak flesh to flesh. So basically, saying like, yeah, you want to speak to me? We're gonna punch our way out of this. We're not gonna do traditional talk so we're just gonna punch while we're doing the talking here. But yeah, emphasis on the master of manipulating words. Yeah, words are very powerful. If everyone's seen Bleach and seen Ichibe's ability, you know how powerful words can be, and words are powerful in any form of medium, not just with manga, but also books, literature. Basically, words can influence people, and words change and evolve over time to mean different things. We're living in an age where language changes, develops, and evolves rapidly, and just a single word. You say a single wrong word, and the power of that word to destroy you is instantaneous. But at the same time, words can also inspire and get people around you as instantaneous as well. So yeah, words are a blessing, but also a curse if you don't know how to use them correctly. So after Ryu basically says to TAIYO like, okay, come on, you gotta speak to me flesh to flesh. TAIYO's just like, yeah, I think I'll pass on that. We can fight until the cows come home, but I never knew you. But I know you're not gonna change your mind, Ryu. You're just that stubborn and that refusal to accept what's going on around you. All you were trying to do is help you see you don't have all we were trying to so TAIYO's just like, all we were trying to do is just to help you see what is going on around you, Ryu. Like, you do not have to resort to these crazy tricks like some wedding ceremony if you just sit down and listen to it. But of course, Ryu's just like, yeah, you can show up right now. Do you really want to talk that bad? How about an interview then? Let's talk about something you did 5 years ago, such as the whole TAIYO's tirades with a sexy spy incident. Okay, so this is something we're hearing for the first time here. I've just been like, okay, so maybe TAIYO does have some secrets that he doesn't want to get out, and Ryu has somehow caught onto this. As we have Shinso and Mutsumi just being like, what? And then as TAIYO is just stunned by this, we see Ryu actually grab his throat and just going to punch him, and just be like, haha, got you, TAIYO, you froze for a second. Did that shake you? 5 years ago we got an anonymous tip that you were seen at an intersection in Jibakojo with an unknown woman. The photo they sent only shows her from behind, so I didn't bother making a full-blown article. So, but however, if you keep trying to interfere with me, we're gonna run with this story no matter what. But as Ryu is continually pummeling at TAIYO, which is probably not doing as big a damage as it could do because of TAIYO's hardening, we have Mutsumi saying like, no, Ryu, you don't have to worry about this. But Ryu is just, again, not paying attention. So, as he's pulling Tayo, he's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, Mutsumi, I know how you feel about this. Mutsumi's like, no, Rio, what you got was a fake tip. And at this point, so Rio is just like, Tayo, I'm gonna run this story, I got this tip. And then Mutsumi's just like, Rio, it was a fake. And then you just see Rio going, what? Like, just like that, it's just like, what? And I just love that. So we actually get into the full context of what the actual conversation was. So we have this silver rank spy called Dayu Skibi, who went on a shopping trip together with Mutsumi, Keigo, Shion, and Tayo, and when they weren't looking, Tayo was targeted by the spy, and they ended up hanging back and watching because Shion and Keigo said, it'll be more fun that way. Like, yeah, Tayo's been targeted by a spy. Come on, let's watch. Let's not get involved with this. Let's see where this goes. So yeah, as Tayo was talking to Dayu, they go on and say like, yeah, but the problem there was that her one mistake was pretend to be a fan of the Yozakura family, and of course Tayo being Tayo was just like, oh, you're a fan of my family? Well, let me tell you. I can just imagine he's going like, well, let me tell you the story about how Keigo gets his beauty regime, or let me tell you the story about how Shion gets the hacking skills that she gets, or let me tell you the story about how Futaba is scared of ghosts. So he gleefully pounced on the chance to talk about everyone. So yeah, he was talking about Mutsumi, Keigo, Koricho, like just talking about them and stuff here. Yeah, Koricho, I could just imagine Tayo spending like, because it says he rambled on and on for hours and hours, or literally until in the end, Dayo couldn't get a single thing off him. So she just left being absolutely shaken by it. So it kind of reminds me of in Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge where Tails just like to Johnny Steps, yeah, I've been holding the biggest friendship speech of my life and now you're going to listen to it. And it took several hours to get through that speech. I can just imagine that's what happened with Tayo right here, where he's just like, yeah, I've got the biggest family right here. I can never be happier, so let me tell you all about them. And he spent probably like an hour going over each member, including, I imagine, Ai and Ayaka as well. So he spent an hour on Koricho, an hour on Shinzo, an hour on Shion, an hour on all of them, but he probably spent about 2 hours on his wife altogether. So 2 hours just talking about Mutsumi in all capacities ever, and Daya was obviously just like, yeah, no more talking about that family, no more talking about that family, no more talking about that family. You just want to know what Tayo actually did say. Mind you, no, you don't, because it will be ending up like the infamous panel from 100 Girlfriends, that panel that's probably going to take an entire episode in the anime. So yeah, they go on and say, heck, the anonymous tip was you, wasn't it? Come on. So yeah, the anonymous tip was Keigo who sent it to Alex, as Alex is just like, oh, Keigo, that was cruel. For a moment I was excited. I had upon reason to erase Tayo, give me back my innocence. And they're just like, are you kidding me? I don't remember the day they're talking about, but you know I don't have an eye for anyone but Mutsumi. Everybody knows that, because I love my family lots, as he says that in Tayo says that in a really creepy way, almost reminiscent of Momo, and this has got people thinking like, is Tayo going to follow down the same path as Momo, which, no, we don't want that. Tayo, you do not want to go down the same path as Momo. You saw what happened. You witnessed all of that happened with Momo, but yeah, it is becoming a little bit more apparent that Tayo is more like Momo than he actually wants to let on, and given what we see later in the chapter, it's no surprising really, as everyone else is just being like, we have Keigo going, okay, I know that's true, but it's still kind of creepy to hear, and we have Shion going, obsession scary, and we have even Nano pointing out like, yeah, this reminds me of Dad and Koricho, and the funniest line comes from Koricho, who, given Koricho's personality, you can imagine, you can not be surprised of just that. Yeah, this is what the first thing he would imagine, as Koricho in his mind says, I think that's the first actual reasonable thing he said. Oh, Karicho, when will you ever learn? But yeah, none of you guys can't really say anything about time when you're just as creepy about several things yourself. You guys literally blew up a shopping mall for no reason other than just because they're getting too much information. Let's blow this place up. So yeah, you want to talk about Tayo being creepy? You guys are insane. Like Keigo and Shion, you guys are just as insane as Tayo. So yeah, you have no rights to criticize you for being creepy. At least Karicho is being honest here. I'll be like, yeah, this is the first actual reasonable thing he said, given that it's Karicho saying, and we know how crazy and creepy he can be. So anyway, Tayo goes on and says, yeah, I love my family lots, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Ryu. As Ryu's just like, what are you getting at, Tayo? Before he goes on and says, you care about Katana so much that you go so far as to set up this whole crazy wedding for her. I've seen lots of people in my life who love their family so much that they didn't know how to express it. So for your sake, as well as theirs, I'll stop you here and now. So yeah, basically Tayo's just like, yeah, I've seen lots of crazy things here, Alex, so you need to understand, Dad, that what you're doing here isn't out of necessity of guilt, it's out of love, and if that means I have to stop you, so be it. As he goes to punch Ryu, but Ryu is so beefy as a tank, he's able to block Tayo's hardening punch, which even Karicho puts emphasis on of that. Tao gave all his strength to that punch, and yet Ryu still withstanded it. But Ryu, even though he withstood it, he still felt the pain of it. So Tao gave it all his on, and Ryu was just like, that was so hard. Yeah, so this is where Ryu reiterates like what he knows about Tai, like, oh, you've got the special ability of the blooming, and given that you got it from the that because you're the husband of the 10th family's head, so and you're able to call you blooming hardening. So yeah, having tested its strength, it's no wonder that he felled former gold rank spy Hydra in one punch. As we get a nice little callback to the beginning of the time skip with Hydra, who I mistakenly thought was going to be the new main antagonist before we got to Asa, but of course they probably just thought like, hey, we need something to show Tayo how badass Tayo's got after the time skip. Let's have him body a former gold rank spy to show what level of skill he's actually on after the time skip. So yeah, Ryu goes on and says, the weight of his love, the firmness of his will, together they make a sympathy of strength. It's without doubt an exquisite punch. But Tayo is just not saying everything at this moment, as Alex goes on and says, someone gets excited, someone gets so excited they can forget their pain. Has it happened to you before? We editors give it all to our craft. Proud entertainers, berserkers, we dedicate our soul to the ultimate articles, and when we wish to when we find that scoop that'll make for an amazing page, the excitement in that we feel in that moment turns all the pain and suffering to pure bliss. So basically, from what I'm getting at here, the punch was so hard that it was just like, so this is the power of a hardening blooming punch. That was so exquisite, so marvelous. It makes me feel like I'm in pure bliss here. So you are strong, Tayo, but physical strength is not the only thing you're gonna need to stop me in this case. And everyone, Keigo's more like, oh, Ryu's a beast, and Mitsubi is starting to get worried about Tayo. Like, Tayo, are you even gonna beat Ryu at this point? But Karicho is just like, he pats her on the shoulder, not saying anything, but you can just imagine Karicho saying to Mitsubi in his mind, no, Mitsubi, it's alright, Tao's got this because he's got a secret weapon that you are not. I don't think Mitsubi has been privy to at this point. I think Karicho is the only one who actually knows what is about to happen here, based on his reaction. Like here, it's just calm and collected, of just being like, no, Tao's got this. So yeah, it seems like Karicho did know about this. Maybe Tayo was the one who went to Karicho to figure out this, because I can imagine that Karicho was one of the first few to actually figure out what is going to happen, based on how he went to confront all the other former family heads. Maybe that's how he took them all out. Like he's the one like who probably mastered it before all the others. Like, he probably had a rudimentary idea when he went to fight the heads based on what's going to happen, but it took him the 5 years to actually master it. But he knew little bits about what is actually going on with TAIYO at the end of this chapter, as we'll get into it. I'm holding off on it way too much here, but yeah, basically I feel like Koricho already knew about what's about to come down, as Tao just calmly and collectively smiles and says, "Exactly, Ryu. Strength alone isn't enough to protect what you love. Learning what I really need to keep my family safe is exactly why I spent these last 5 years doing what I am about to do right now." As we cut to a flashback where we have where we finally find out the real contents of the message from from Momo to TAIYO, as he says, "This goes for you and the other siblings, but your bloomings are incomplete." Now, like I said, I feel like Koricho had a rudimentary idea of how to get his completed blooming under control when he went to fight the heads and Momo, but at the same time, it wasn't perfected as what he would like to, and that's probably why he spent the last 5 years training to get it as perfected as possible, in the same way that the other Yozakura siblings have probably managed to perfect it. Now, I don't think all of them have perfected it as well as probably TAIYO and Koricho. I feel like some of them, it's kind of like when you've trained years and years and years for a moment, but when that moment actually comes, some mistakes actually still happen despite all the training and all the preparation you've got for. I feel like that's going to happen with some of them as we get into finding out what exactly it is that they actually call the completed blooming. Momo goes on and says, "There's still room for you to improve on them. I'll share everything that I know of you. My training will help you reach your full potential in time for the battle with Asa 5 years from now. This isn't the profuse blooming of 1,000 flowers. There's still that leans too much on Subumi's blood. It's powerful, but it could poison you." So yeah, it's really great, but it does have tremendous side effects. Better than to perfect your blooming first. So yeah, it's basically a Bankai for the bloomings. So while the hardening on tiles is his Shikai, what's coming up next is his Bankai, which I feel like has to have a different name than just hardening. Maybe liquid hardening. I feel like that would work. I don't know. The name would work, but I don't know how exactly it would function. But he goes on, but Ryu goes on and, not Ryu, Momo goes on and says, like, "Oh, you've got hardening, how lucky you are. I got stuck with just dumb dreamings," which begs the question, what is the Bankai of dreaming? That's what I would like to see. Oh my god, what's the Bankai of Void? Like, I'm calling it a Bankai, but we're going to get the real name in a minute. But come on, it is a Bankai for the Yozakura family, and even Party Champs made the joke as well. So yeah, and that's what's going to be called the title of the title of this review. TAIYO goes Bankai. So yeah, Momo goes on and says, like, "It's super creepy and gross and feels kinds of evil," basically talking about his dreaming ability, which, yeah, it was, Momo, it was. But now he feels inferior. You're the real deal. I'm so jealous. But you know, that's exactly why you've become really strong, like Mitsubi's husband should be. I'll be watching over you from the shadows. So as this is happening, we see, I guess, some kind of flaming energy spark in Tao's hand. As we see his his red hair turn like a pale white as he starts to go on and says, "Let's try this again, Ryo. Will you spar with me?" As we see his entire body turn completely white as snow. We see everyone, minus, like I said, Koricho, because I feel like Koricho sort of like got a rudimentary idea of this under control, and actually probably talked to Momo about it himself. So him and Tao are probably the only ones, and maybe possibly Futaba, the only ones who have actually mastered it, which is probably why Futaba was very hesitant to actually go all out against Alpha and Hiyofumi, and I feel like she's not going to go out when we get to her task. But anyway, Momo goes on to explain, according to the Yozakura legend, the complete blooming is spoken of thus: when the cherry blossoms with the fierce pride, they call the sleeping spring to wake, as it's called true spring blooming. And that's where the chapter ends. So yeah, true spring true spring blooming is the Bankai of the blooming. So we have blooming and then true spring blooming. So yeah. Now, like I said, I hope the hardening name has a different name, like an upgraded name, in the true spring blooming form. Now, like I said, I feel like Koichiro is probably one that's mastered it completely, and Futaba, I feel like her, Koichiro and Tao are the three that have mastered it, because they're usually like the front row physical brawlers. Now I know Koichiro is not like a physical like punchy, but you know what I mean, like the front row heavy hitters of the Yozakura family, like TAIYO, Koichiro, and Futaba. Shinso, I feel like, relies more on his weaponry than his actual fists. So yeah, those three I feel like are the three that have fully mastered it and fully perfected it. Now, like I said, some of the Yozakuras, like I would say Nanano, maybe is close to perfecting it, but hasn't fully grasped it yet. So I feel like during next year, like I feel like all of this is leading to us finding out all the true spring bloomings of all the Yozakuras next year, and whether or not some of them have perfected or not. Because like I said, you could train for years and years and years, and when you actually get to the day of like, okay, this is the day I put all my training to test, some things can go incredibly wrong. And I feel like, particularly for Nano, Keigo, and Shion, I feel like those three are the ones that are at risk of the true spring blooming not being quite fully ready, and they're going to need a little bit more training, a little bit more boost before they actually are able to fully grasp it or fully control it. Or maybe they can fully grasp it, but I could definitely see as well some of them being completely out of control, because if anyone's seen Digimon Frontier, when because you had the Spirit Evolution of the Digidestined, and then you had the Beast Spirit Evolution. When they went into the Beast Spirit Evolution form for the first time, they couldn't control it. Like, they went completely, some of them went completely rambunctious, and it took a while before they could actually get it under control. So I feel like some of them may have either not quite perfected it yet, or maybe have perfected it, but when they go into it, they're unable to control it, and they need like extended training to actually get it under control. I feel like that's an angle they could take it. Now, I'd love to know more about this true spring blooming, and we are going to get more about it next week, and more in the coming arcs to come in next year. Now, like I said, I feel like next year is going to be focused mainly on the true spring bloomings, but also I feel like it's going to focus on getting Alpha and Hiofumi's bloomings, at least fully understanding what their bloomings are before 2025, when we start to actually get into the final battles with us. I feel like 2025 is the year the series is going to end. Yeah, so then that would give us like around, I want to say around 270 to 300. Maybe it might take a little bit longer. Maybe the beginning of 2026, when the series starts actually winding down, because I'm still on the cusp of it being like between 250 and 300 chapters. So yeah, maybe if not by the end of next year, very early 2026. If not by the end of 2025, very early 2026, the series starts winding down. Because like I said, we still need to find out all about the true spring bloomings now that we've got this plot point. Find out exactly what it actually entails. Like, where does it actually come from? How is it different from what's relied on Subumi's blood? Find out what eyes blooming is actually properly called. Find out what its techniques are. Maybe she might be able to master true spring blooming herself. Find out what Hifumi and Alpha's bloomings are. We need to find out about that, and then we get into the final battles with Asa, because I feel like Asa's not going to be alone. Not going to be alone here. I feel like he's going to have other minions as well, so that we get individual fights with all the Yozakuras. But yeah, the main plot point here that I want to take away from this chapter is that we need to get at least Alpha and Hiofumi's bloomings unlocked, and actually get them under control as well before we actually move into the final battle with Asa. But as for right now, true spring blooming, I feel like is a natural upgraded version, because yeah, it goes with the theme of the series, like the blooming ability being based around plants and flowers, and true spring blooming, absolutely perfect for the blooming ability to be a natural extended upgrade. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.